Shabbat Shalom, welcome back to the Light to the Nations channel. In this video today we will continue with the part number 10 of the study of the last days. As you know, in this study, in this series, we are building together a timeline with the sequence of events, the chronology of events of the end times. In this video, in this part, we will review particularly what some of you have been asking for, and it's the information that I shared with Rob Skiba in an interview we did together around 2 months ago. And it is related to the prophecies on the book in Sefer Chazon, the book of Revelation, chapter 12. So in this video, we will start to review in details the prophecies on the chapter 12 of the book of Revelation. We are not going to cover everything in this video. There is a second part in the next video, in the part number 11 of this series. So the focus that we will have today is mainly on the dragon of the Revelation, in the prophecies of Revelation 12, and how this is connected to the Great Distress, the Great Tribulation, and how all the prophecies on Revelation 12 is connected to everything that we have been reviewing so far during this series. We will cover for sure what is related to the woman, all the events that are in the prophecy of Revelation 12, and how everything fits on the timeline that we have been built so far. But in this video, we won't cover the meaning of the different aspects or the different events that we are going to cover in the next video. Okay, so my invitation, like always, take your scriptures, because what we are doing throughout all this series, throughout all the studies that I have been sharing with you, is just to read the Body of YaHuWaH, because here we find the truth. Okay, and as we review in the first part of this study, most probably was the second part, is that we don't need to rely on our own interpretations. We need to let the scripture to interpret itself, and for that we need to use the ruach of the nevuah, the spirit of the prophecy. And we know that the spirit of the prophecy, the ruach of the nevuah, is YaHuWaH, the witness of YaHuWaH HaMashiach. And this is the principle that we have been using throughout all this study, and it's the principle we will continue doing it in this series and also in all the studies that I have been sharing and I will be sharing with you. So take your scripture, take a pen, some papers in order to take some notes. And if at the end of the video you have some questions or comments, like always, my invitation, you can send me an email to light2everynation@gmail.com. I will do my best to give you an answer or to give you some insights or my inputs in order for you to do your own research. So no more talking, and let me share with you the screen and we will start right away. So part number 10, the analysis of the Great Distress, the Dragon of Chazon 12. And for some of you that already listened to the interview that we have with Rob Skiba, I will start this part not going directly to the book of Chazon 12, but before, I want to share with you some part of the journey that I had, that basically conducted me to the understanding that I will share with you in the timeline at the end of this video. So back on 2011, something like that, 2011, 2012, a thought came to my mind and related to the end times. And specifically on that moment, the thought was the probability to have a fake second coming of Mashiach. You know, I don't remember exactly how this thought came to my mind and to my heart, but it was specifically that. And when I was doing some research in internet looking for some information, I get to a site a website that they were explaining exactly in the same way, the thought that came to my mind. False second coming of YaHuWaH HaMashiach, or Jesus Christ, in the way that they were mentioning in the website. And in that moment, in that side, they were mentioning about the Project Blue Beam and these kind of things that most of you most probably have been hearing about. And it was quite amazing because it was exactly the same that came to my mind. So it was a kind of a confirmation of the thought that I received. And you know, this thought was surrounding my mind all the time, and basically coming to my mind all the time. And I truly believe that it could be a probability. But in that moment, I couldn't find any support on the scripture to believe that that could be a reality. So during the time I came to understand and study all the aspects in the scriptures, I have the opportunity to get in contact with the teaching about the Nephilims, especially the videos that Rob Skiba was sharing. And it was a tremendous revelation because it's amazing how this information, that truth about the Nephilim and what happened at the beginning of the times, is totally connected to the story of Israel, and especially is totally connected to what's going to happen on the end times. So it was a tremendous revelation, and together with that, I got in contact with the study and the truth about the cosmology according to the scriptures, and everything somehow started to connect between them in order to receive more lights and more understanding of the end times. I have been telling you and sharing with you that this study about the last days I created it almost 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, something like that. And at that time, part of what I'm gonna share with you, I didn't have the connection yet about with the cosmology of the earth according to the scripture, and also with the Nephilim. So now what we are going to review is totally connected, and we will see it, and this is bringing us a lot of light in order to understand what's happening today and what's going to happen in the near future. So by that introduction, let's start. And the first thing that I want to share with you is what happened in the beginning. We know that the scripture is always telling us that we need to look in the beginning. We need to go to Bereshit, the book of Genesis, because from there, from the foundations, we will understand what's happening throughout all the story of the world, and also what's going to happen at the end. And there's an important aspect that we and most of you maybe know, and if you are not in contact with that, I recommend you to research this information. Go to Rob Skiba channel, get in contact with the studies about the Nephilim, because this is an important truth that is a fundamental key in order to understand the plan of YaHuWaH, the purpose of Israel, and what's going to happen also at the end times. So what we see and what I want to share with you is basically first messengers from the Shamayim. And just to avoid any confusion, when I'm talking about messengers, I'm referring to angels. I don't use the word angel because the word angel has a pagan origin. So the Hebrew word is malach or malachim in plural. And malach, the best way to translate this to English is messenger. Okay? So do we see in the scripture messenger coming from the Shamayim? So let's review. We have few examples and few verses, few texts, and one principle we need to use as well is in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses we establish any truth. So the first witness, we don't have it in the canonized scripture, but we have it in the book of Joelim. This is the book of Jubilees, in the chapter 4, verse 15. And it says the following: And she bore him a son in the third week, in the 6th year, and he called his name Yered. For in his days the messengers, the Malachim of YaHuWaH, descended on the earth, those who are named the Watchers, that they should instruct the children of men, and that they should do right ruling, or mishpatim in Hebrew, and uprightness on the earth. So, for those of you that are familiar with what is written in the book of Genesis, the Sefer Bereshit, chapter 6, you know that the scripture revealed us that messengers came down from the Shemaim to the earth, and there's a tremendous story regarding the origin of the Nephilim, how those messengers took the daughters of men, and they had children with them. Okay, and those children are the Nephilims. So we see here exactly a confirmation of that in the book of Joelim, that these messengers, the Watchers, the Malachim of YaHuWaH, descended on the earth. And I want what I put in red this part, because this is the point that I want you to keep in mind. This messenger descended from the Shamayim to the earth. So the people on the earth, they saw the messenger descending to the earth. And this is important. You will see it in a moment. So, and you will understand when we go to review Revelation 12, how this part is totally connected to the prophecies of the end times. Okay? So we have a second witness, and as I said, this is in the Sefer Bereshit, book of Genesis, chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. And it says, And it came to be, when men began to increase on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of Elohim saw the daughters of men, that they were good, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. Okay? So we see here exactly a confirmation. In this case, in Bereshit, they are called the sons of Elohim. But we know, based on what we see in the book of Joelim, is that those sons of Elohim were the Malachim, the messengers, the angels of YaHuWaH, who descended on the earth. Okay? And we see here the confirmation that they took daughters, the daughters of men, they took them as wives. Okay? And we have a third witness, and this is in the book of Hanoch. This is the book of Enoch, chapter 6, verse 1, 2, and 6. And it reads, And it came to be, when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them good-looking and lovely daughters. And the messengers, the children of the Shamayim, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and bring forth children. So we see here a confirmation in these three texts, that the children of the Shamayim are the sons of Elohim, according to Bereshit, and are the messengers, the Malachim of YaHuWaH, who descended, lusted, and took women, the daughters of men, and they brought forth children. Those children were the Nephilim. And in the verse 6 it says, And they were in all 200, and again, who descended in the days of Yered, on the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon, because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual curses upon it. So the important thing that I want you to keep in mind here is that these Malachim, these messengers, these angels of YaHuWaH, descended from the Shamayim to the earth. And the important thing is that how I want to connect this. We see in the cultures of the Sumerians, in the Egyptians, even the Greek culture, the Roman, and all the ancient cultures and ancient mythologies, how they depicted beings coming from the Shamayim to the earth, and they call it gods. For them, there were the gods that came from the Shamayim, And that's why they were believing in multiple gods, that they were instructing the men and different aspects. And we see the connection directly, how the Body of YaHuWaH is revealing us the truth, that those gods for those people, for the ancient world, and we see the pantheon of the Greek, the pantheon of the Romans, and the direct connection with all the cultures of the past, that those gods, according to them, were the Malachim, the messengers of YaHuWaH that descended on the earth. And nowadays we see a lot of people talking about aliens and talking about the ancient aliens and referring to what the Sumerians believed, what the Babylonians were believing, and so on. And as we see in the pictures over here, that there were people, the scientifics and the science now are saying that those were ancient aliens that were descending on the earth. So that's the important thing, because we see the Body of YaHuWaH revealing us the truth that beings were coming down from the Shamayim to the earth. But we need to understand that those beings were messengers of YaHuWaH. They were the watchers that descended on the earth, and they brought forth the Nephilim. So how all of this is connected to the end times? And this is for a specific reason, because we know that in Kohelet, in Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9 and 10, it says the following: "What has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done. And there is no new matter under the sun. Is there a matter of which it is said, see, this is new? It was here already, long ago." So, the Body of YaHuWaH teaches that there is nothing new under the sun, that what happened in the past is what will happen in the future. And how we can confirm this? Because YaHuWaH is telling us in Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 46, verse 9 and 10. He says the following: "Remember the former events of all, for I am El, and there is no one else, Elohim, and there is no one like me, declaring the end from the beginning, and from all that which has not yet been done, saying, my counsel does stand, and all my delight I do." So YaHuWaH teaches through His Devar, His truth, that what happened in the past will happen again in the future. And through those former events of all, through those events in the past, He's telling us, He's teaching us, He's revealing us what will happen on the end times. So, how all the story of these messengers coming from the Shamayim somehow will be revealing us what will happen on the end times. So let's see, let's continue. So one aspect that I want to share with you, and connecting to what we already saw in the previous slide, all the scientific community teaching us about the ancient aliens, about the existence of other beings in other planets. Somehow people has been influenced by the system, not only by the scientific community. We have been influenced at all since we were kids to believe in this. And how they have been doing this is basically through Hollywood, through television, through movies. We have been influenced in order to believe in the existence of beings from other planets, to believe in aliens. And we have been seeing in all these movies that basically they have been preparing us in order to believe in an alien invasion. It's basically to believe that beings from other planets, from other galaxies will come to the Earth in the same way that the ancient people saw the messengers of the Shamayim, the messengers of YaHuWaH, the children of the Shamayim, coming down to the earth. Basically, the system of the world has been preparing the entire humanity, the entire society, all the people, to believe that if we see something coming from the Shamayim, to believe that those are aliens, those are beings from other planets. And we can see in all these movies that sometimes those people are coming to invade the earth, sometimes those beings are coming to support us and to teach, sometimes there are a group of beings coming in order to protect the earth, because another ones are coming in order to destroy the earth. So all of those information, all of those lies, all of those stories are in our subconscious. Because I'm totally sure that if somebody of us or anybody on the world will see something coming from the Shamayim, will remember automatically all of these movies, and they will act according to what they have been receiving through the system. And the important connection that I was sharing with Rob in that interview is that basically the only way to believe on those beings coming from the space is believing in what we have been receiving since the year 1500. Is basically to believe in this cosmology that is totally different to the cosmology we receive from the truth, from the Body of YaHuWaH. And by believing in this cosmology, we believe that we are floating in the middle of nothing in the space, and that we are insignificant, that we are just a small piece of a tremendous, vast space. By believing this is the only way that we can believe that there are in the existence of different beings from different planets, from different galaxies that could come to the earth. When we see the contrary on the Body of YaHuWaH, that those beings that they came in the past, in the beginning, were not aliens, they were messengers, they were the watchers, they were messengers of YaHuWaH, Ma'alachim of YaHuWaH, that were descending on the earth. So we see that the system has been pushing for a strong delusion, as is written in Thessalonians, a strong delusion that is coming directly from YaHuWaH for those that don't believe and don't love the truth. Those ones are the ones that are gonna believe in the delusion, they're gonna be deceived, and that's why we need to put our trust, and we need to rely just in the Body of YaHuWaH. So by doing this and reviewing all of this information, can we believe that messengers from the Shamayim will come again? How come? Because we understand that basically, for those that have been studying about the Watchers and the Nephilims, that they receive a strong judgment. Okay? So, and how we can connect everything that I have been saying so far with the thought that I was sharing with you that I have come back on 2011. So these are the important texts that we need to understand, and we need to read each one of the lines in order to start connecting all the dots and connecting all the keys. So, and we see in the book of Galatians, this is Galatians. And you can ask, maybe this is totally as isolated and is nothing to do, it has nothing to do with the end times and what I have been telling so far. But, if something is written in the Body of YaHuWaH, it's because with a purpose. It's with a purpose, basically. It's not written there just randomly. It's because of something. Is we see something strange in the Body of YaHuWaH, or a message that is hard for us to really understand at the beginning. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have any importance. For sure, it's important at all. And we will see here, and I will explain you what is my understanding, basically, and how I'm connecting this to everything related to the Great Delusion, everything related to the beginning with the messengers of YaHuWaH, and how this is connected to the end times. So it says in the chapter 1, verse 6 to 9, I marvel that you are so readily turning away from him who called you in the favor of Mashiach to a different good news, which is not another, only there are some who are troubling you and wishing to pervert the good news of Mashiach. However, even if we, and listen to this, or a messenger out of Shamayim, bring a good news to you, beside what we announce to you, let him be accursed. As we have said before, and now I say again, if anyone brings a good news to you, beside what you have received, let him be accursed. So we see here Shaul talking to the Galatians, basically that there is only one good news. And if we receive a different good news, those bringing that different good news should be accursed. But the important aspect, and this is the weird, to say it in some way, message that Shaul is providing in this letter, that he's referring to messengers coming from the Shamayim as one that could bring a different good news. He's saying, even if a messenger is coming down from the Shamayim with a different good news, beside the one they have been announcing, even this messenger should be accursed. So why Shaul is talking and using as an example a messenger coming from the Shamayim with a different good news is because for a reason. And we will see in this video and also in the next parts of this series how we will see messengers coming from the Shamayim with news, with good news, or could be maybe with different good news. Okay, so keep that in mind because we will see it later connected. And the important thing here to understand, as we saw in Yeshayahu and Kohelet, what has been is what shall be. What has been done is what shall be done. What happened in the past? Messenger came down from the Shamayim with a different good news. They were leading astray the people. They were teaching. For those that have been reading the book of Enoch, we know in the revelation of Enoch, how those messengers were leading astray the people, teaching different secrets, and through those secrets they were led astray. So it's basically, we see in the past how messengers coming from the Shamayim teaching a different path, and we see the scripture telling us what has been is what shall be, what has been done is what shall be done. And the important and the interesting thing, actually, if you start looking the news and things like that, that in the last year, basically, since 2016, I've seen a lot of news, a lot of messages of people talking about disclosure of aliens in this year or close to this year, talking about false flag alien invasion. And even we see here in this one an former prime minister from Canada talking about exactly the same thing. And there is a lot of things that even I saw some presidents of the US in the past, Ronald Reagan, talking in a conference a lot of years ago, saying how an invasion from the space could unite the world. So when you start seeing all this connection, you see how the system somehow is pushing us in order to believe something. We see all this news that I'm sharing, at least some of them with you here, how people are talking about the possibility or the probability of a false flag alien invasion. So we start seeing how this is connected to the thought that I had back on 2011, to see how this is totally connected to what happened at the beginning. And we see somehow the words of Shaul that is talking about the probability of a messenger coming with a different good news. So on top of that, there is another letter, another words of Shaul, and this is in the Sefer Corinthian Bet. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 13 to 15. And it says the following: For such are false emissaries, deceptive workers, masquerading as emissaries of Mashiach. And listen to this in the verse 14. And no wonder, for Satan himself, masquerades as a messenger of light. It is not surprising then, if his servants also masquerade as servants of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. The point that I want to make here, and I want to stop a little bit, is what is written in red. Again, Shaul is giving us another word that is between the lines, basically, in the same way that we saw it in the previous text in Galatians. It's a message between the lines. He's talking us that Satan masquerades himself as a messenger, a malach of light. And we see the same Shaul when he's talking to Galatians, saying that even if messengers that are coming down from the Shamayim with a different good news, those we don't have to believe. Those are accursed. So, I don't know if you see it, but I'm seeing the connection. Shaul telling us that even Satan himself can come from the Shamayim with a different message, and he is able to masquerade himself as a messenger of light. Can you believe if you see a being coming from the Shamayim full of light with a specific message, and this specific message is totally different to the good news? What's going to be the reaction of the people if they see a being full of light? They are going to believe the falsehood, they are going to believe the deception. And we see here Shaul telling us that if we see this happening, we don't have to believe, because if the message is different to what we have received and what is written in the Body of YaHuWaH, those beings are accursed. Okay? So, you may be wondering how this is connected at all with Revelation 12, how this is connected at all with the end times. So let's review now Revelation 12, and I will start explaining you how the support that I didn't find at the beginning when I have that thought, I found it directly in the Body of YaHuWaH, not only with the text that I have been sharing with you so far. We see it directly on the prophecies of Sefer Chasson chapter 12, Revelation chapter 12. So let's review it. So the dragon of Chasson 12 or Revelation 12. So we have the entire prophecy in the book of Revelation, Chasson chapter 12, from the verse 1 to the verse 17. But before reading the passage, I want to tell you that I have been hearing and checking a lot of interpretations and a lot of teachings about the Revelation 12. Particularly in regards of what is coming on September 23. Okay, we are not going to cover about the sign that we have in September 23 yet. Most probably we will review it in the part 11. Okay, in the part 11, as I said previously, we will continue with the analysis of Chasson Revelation 12. But what I want to tell you is this: basically, all the interpretation that I have been seeing so far, basically most of the people are using this to teach that all of this is related to the rapture. It's basically the church that is going to be saved in this moment, and they are doing this by understanding the child that is getting born from the woman, as we will read soon. What I want to share you is that my interpretation, what I understand from the book of Revelation, is a bit different. And why is that? When we read Revelation, basically we see two stories, okay? And before continue that, please keep in mind that the scrolls, the original manuscripts, didn't have any chapter, didn't have any verses. It was just like a letter. The entire scripture without any separation. All the separation were done by men, basically understanding by their understanding and their bias. Okay, so when I'm reading the entire chapter 12, I can see that there are two stories basically, both of them totally related. That's true, but there are two stories, and where I see the separation basically is here. I see the first one from Revelation chapter 1 to 6, and then I see a second one that is totally connected to the other one for sure, but it's a second narrative. It's from the verse 7 to the 17. Okay, so sorry. So let's review it. We will read it together. But I want to tell you what we are our main focus today is gonna be in the second part, in the events of the second part. We will review in the next video, in the part 11. We will understand the first part, also understanding the different keys and how the first part is connected to the second part. Okay, so let's read it entirely, and then I will share with you why I understand this is separated. So let's start. It says, "And a great sign was seen in the Shamayim, a woman clad with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars." So this is the first sign in the Shamayim. A great sign in the Shamayim is a woman that, with all these characteristics of the sun, the moon, and the stars, and also with the characteristic what it says in the verse 2, being pregnant, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. This is the first great sign. Okay, let's continue in the verse 3. "And another sign was seen in the Shamayim, and see, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns on his heads." Okay, so this is the second great sign. And also, where is this sign? In the Shamayim. And keep in mind that we see in the timeline that we are building is basically we are including the events in the Shamayim and also the events on the earth, and some of them are simultaneously happening. Okay, so it's important that these signs, the scripture is revealing us there are signs in the Shamayim. Okay, let's continue in the verse 4. "And his tail draws a third of the stars of the Shamayim and throws them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was born. And she bore a male child, who was to shepherd all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was cut away to Elohim and to his throne." And this is important, and as I said, we are not going to review in details now. It's coming in the next video. But we can understand very clearly that this child, this male child, is YaHuWaH HaMashiach. Why? Because it's Yahushua, the one that is going to shepherd all the nations with a rod of iron. And we will see directly how the Body of YaHuWaH, in the next video, how the Body of YaHuWaH is revealing us this truth, that this male child who is going to shepherd all the nations with the rod of iron is Yahushua HaMashiach himself. Okay, and the important point on the verse 6 is basically this verse 6, the main one that is connected this first part of Revelation 12 with the second part, but because it says, "And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by Elohim, to be nourished there 1,260 days. Why I'm saying this verse is connecting the first part with the second part? Because the first part is related to signs in the Shamayim. Okay? This is the main aspect of the first narrative. is related, is describing the signs on the Shamayim, and is also giving us keys and connectors in order to understand what those signs are representing to, because those signs represent something. So part of what we see between verse 1 to 6 are the clues, the keys that will help us to understand what the signs are referring to. Because we see here that the woman will flee into the wilderness. If we see a sign in the Shamayim, this sign cannot flee to the wilderness. It's because this woman is fleeing to the wilderness on the earth. So this sign on the Shamayim is representing a woman on the earth. Okay? We will see more details of this in the next video, and I will give you different aspects on the scripture just to understand this, what I'm saying. So we see aspect of the woman as part of the sign on the Shamayim, representing a woman on the earth. Okay? So the important thing here is that this woman on the earth will flee into the wilderness and is going to be protected for 1,260 days. Okay? So let's continue with the second part, and you will see, because we have a kind of interruption here. That's why the separation, because we have all the description of the sign and the keys, and then we have a totally different starting of a different narrative, because it says in the verse 7, and there came to be fighting in the Shamayim. Okay, again, this fighting, all these events happening in the Shamayim first. And what is the event? Michael, and his messengers, his malachim. And we know Michael is a chief messenger, is a chief malach. He has messenger, malachim, under his command. Okay? Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon. What dragon? The same dragon that we saw the sign over here. And this is important to see how it's connected. And the dragon and his messengers fought. And this is also important because they see the word messengers. Keep in mind the messenger that were coming down from the Shamayim on the beginning. But they were not strong enough, nor was a place found for them in the Shamayim any longer. And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old called the devil and Satan, Shatan, who leads all the world astray. Listen to this. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers were thrown out with him. So we see the entire event happening, a tremendous fight between Michael and the dragon. And we see the revelation here in the same chapter that this dragon is Shatan, is Satan himself. And we see this tremendous fight in the Shamayim, and Michael wins this fight. And he thrown the dragon, he thrown down Shatan, Satan, to the earth. Most of the people believe that the devil, Shatan, Satan, lives in hell. And that's not true, because we see different aspects, and I will share this with you in the next video. Even Yahushua saying that he saw the devil coming down to the earth very fast when he sent his disciple to deliver the message. Also, we see the words of Shaul saying that the prince of the air, of the air, what I say. So it's basically the devil, Shatan, Satan, living on the air, on the heaven, on the sky. Okay? So that's why we see here in Revelation 12 that this fight is happening on the sky, on the heaven, on the Shamayim. And because of that, Michael thrown out or down Shatan and his messengers to the earth. Let's continue in the verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in the Shamayim, now have come the deliverance and the power and the reign of our Elohim and the authority of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. And we see this repeated all the time that Satan is thrown down. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb and because of the word of their witness. And they did not love their lives to death. Because of this, rejoice of Shamayim, and you who dwell in them. And listen to this. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you. And is repeating again, the devil coming down to you. To whom? To the earth and to the sea, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. Okay, let's continue, verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, again, the dragon realized that he is not able to stay on the Shamayim, on the sky, on the heaven. And he realized that he has been thrown to the earth. He persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And here we see the connection between the woman and the verse 6 here, and the description or the sign, and the woman on the earth, because the dragon has been thrown to the earth. So there is a woman on the earth that is getting persecuted by the dragon. And the woman, how to connect and how to understand and how to identify this woman, because this woman is the one that gave birth to the male child. What male child? The male child that, as is written in the verse 5, that will shepherd all the nations with a rod of iron. YaHuWaH, HaMashiach. Okay? Let's continue in the verse 14. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So we see here the interpretation of time and times and half a time as the 1260 days, because as I said, the verse 6 is the one connecting the first part of the revelation with the second part of the revelation or the prophecy. Let's continue in the verse 15. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river after the woman, to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river, which the dragon has spewed out of his mouth. So we see the dragon persecuting the woman. And since the woman is protected by Elohim and has a place to protect her during 1260 days, the dragon get enraged, as we read in the verse 17. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commands, the mitzvot of Elohim, and possessing the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. So the important we have been seeing important aspects here, and there is a lot of keys that are totally connected to keys that we have been already seen throughout this series. Okay, and we see the important aspect here that for the first time on this series and in all the scriptures that we have been seeing so far, we are start seeing 2 different groups. One group that is protected and another group that is totally persecuted. And I will explain you in more details when we see the timeline. Okay, let's continue. So let's review what are the main keys in this part of the studies. So the first one, the key 10.1, is the sign in the Shamayim. This is a sign, is something that we should be able to see. It's a sign in the Shamayim. What is this sign? It's a woman with the sun, with the moon, and the stars. Okay? So the important here about this sign is that there is a specific key, and a specific description of this sign that is giving us a key to unlock more understanding. And this is that this sign, this woman is pregnant and about to give birth. And we saw an important key in the first part, in the part number 1 of this study, when we were reviewing about the importance to study about the last days. We saw this in the words of Shaul, in the key 1.3, in the words of Shaul in the book of Last Thessalonikim Aleph. This is 1 Thessalonians 5. He was saying that everything will happen suddenly, as a labor pain upon a pregnant woman. So the reference of a woman in pregnancy and with pain in order to just about to give birth We see it throughout the entire scripture, and we will cover more details of this in the next video, just to understand how this description and this key about a woman in pregnancy about to give birth is giving us a better understanding about what the scripture is referring to. And also, we saw in the words of YaHuWaH in the part number 3 of this study, when we were analyzing the prophecy on the Har HaZeitim, the Mount of Olives, the prophecy of YaHuWaH HaMashiach. He was saying that that was the beginning of the birth pains. And we have it in timeline. We will see it in the next slide. YaHuWaH was referring about birth pains. Birth pains are related to a woman pregnant woman. So we see again, even in the words of YaHuWaH, the reference to a pregnant woman about to give birth, or with birth pains. Okay. The second key is also a sign in the Shemayim, as we saw it. And what is the sign of the Shemayim? Is the great red dragon. Sorry for the error there, but it's the great red dragon. So basically, what we need to understand is, who is this dragon? Because we see a reference of the dragon as part of the sign. So who is the dragon? And the answer we see directly in the verse 9. And we already read it. It says, "And the great dragon was thrown out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan." So who is the dragon? Who is the dragon that is coming from the Shemayim to the earth? Is Satan himself. And this is important for you to keep in mind, because we already saw in the words of Shaul that Satan himself masqueraded himself as a messenger of light. And he also was saying in Galatians that even if a messenger that is coming out from the Shemayim with a different good news is accursed, and we don't have to believe him. So we see here that the dragon, Satan, is being thrown down to the earth, and he's coming to the earth. Okay? The other key is the key 10.3, and we see this dragon is having 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns. And we see a total connection with the first beast, because we saw in the description of the first beast in Hason, Revelation chapter 13, in the key 7.2, the description of this first beast was as one having 7 heads, the same thing as the great dragon, 10 horns, the same thing. In this case, the first beast was having 10 crowns, okay, and names of blasphemy. So we see the direct connection between the dragon and the first beast, okay. Both of them are part of the same system. It's part of the same delusion. It's part of the same lie, okay. The next key is a battle in the Shemayim. Michael versus the dragon. And this is so important, so critical, because we see Michael again on this passage. And what is the amazing connection? Because we already saw in the key 6.1, when we were reviewing the book of Daniel, that at the moment that Michael stand up, that was the key 6.1, is the moment when the beginning of the great distress start. The great distress as never before. And also we saw in the key 8.6, when we were reviewing about when the first beast will appear, about the man of lawlessness, that something is restraining him. And we were reviewing and connecting and understanding directly from the Body of YaHuWaH that Michael is the one restraining, according to the Body of YaHuWaH, understanding the different passages and the different testimonies. So at the moment that Michael stand up, the first beast can appear, is the moment when the beginning of the great distress is kick off, is triggered. And we see here that he's standing up for what reason? To fight with the dragon. because this is the connection that we see directly in the Revelation chapter 12. He's standing up in order to fight with the dragon. The keys number 5 is also a sign. The dragon is thrown down to the earth. And what is this? What is the important here? Because, and why I'm saying this is a sign, we will see something coming from the Shamayim in the same way that happened at the beginning. Messengers, Malachim of YaHuWaH, coming down from the Shamayim to the earth, and everybody, all the ancient cultures, believing that those were the gods coming in order to guide the people, guide the humanity. That was the great delusion that we are living so far. Exactly the same thing will happen again, because it's written in the Body of YaHuWaH. What happened in the past will happen again, because there is nothing new under the sun. Okay? So we will see the dragon coming down to the earth, and this is going to be a sign. And how this is connected amazingly to what we already saw in the part number 7, in the key 7.4. We saw that the dragon is the one that is going to give his power to the first beast. It's going to be the one giving his throne and great authority to the great beast. And we saw in that part of the study, in the part number 7, that in order for that to happen, the dragon needs to be on the earth. Is the dragon the one that needs to be on the earth in order to give the first beast the authority, the power, and the throne? Because we also saw in the key 7.6 that the earth will worship the dragon. And we also saw in the part 8 of the study that the coming of the man of lawlessness is according to the working of Satan. And we also saw already that the dragon is Satan, is Satan himself. So is Satan the dragon, the one that is going to bring up the first beast? And this is everything related to the strong delusion. Okay? We saw the key 6 that the woman is persecuted by the dragon, but we also saw that the dragon is not able to do any harm to her because the woman is protected. And also we saw that the woman escaped from the dragon, and how this is so amazing connected to the keys 5.1 and 5.2 when we started to analyze the great distress, is because this is related to persecution, and persecution is directly connected to great distress. But the important thing we see here that this woman is protected even from the persecution. Okay? Also, the important aspect we see here is that the woman is protected in the wilderness for how long? 1260 days. And we see here a connection with the key 6.4 that we saw when we were analyzing the book of Daniel. Is the times and half a time between the abomination of desolation and the blessing for those people getting to the end. Okay? But the important question we need to ask ourselves, who is this woman? Who is this woman? And we see the sign in the Shamayim representing a woman on the earth. We need to understand who is this woman. Okay? The next key, and this is an important one, is the key 10.7. It says that is the dragon, the one fighting with the remnant of her seed, the seed of the woman. When the dragon is not able to do any harm to the woman, he's going to fight with the remnant of her seed. And how this is so connected to the previous part of this study, because we already saw in the key 4.2, basically we saw that this is related to the 5th seal, when there is a number of chosen one that needs to die, a number that needs to be completed. And those are, as mentioned in the book of Revelation, those that are having the word of Elohim and the witness of Yahushua, exactly in the same way that we see here in the chapter 12 of Revelation. And also we saw in the key 5.2 that is totally related to the great distress. A great distress such has not been in the entire human history. Okay? And we also saw in the key 5.3, this is related to what is written in the book of Daniel, that there is a promise of deliverance, salvation for those enduring till the end. Those that are going to be persecuted, the remnant that is going to be persecuted, they are going to be saved. Only those ones that are enduring until the end. Also, we saw that in the book of Daniel, in the key 6.5, that this period is a period of cleansing and refining of many. And this is something that I have been sharing with you, that the great distress, the purpose of the great distress is just to refine the people of YaHuWaH, to clean the people of YaHuWaH. And we see that there are two ways of purification according to what is revealed on the Torah in the Body of YaHuWaH. One is with water and the other is with fire. So he's going to try his people with fire during this period of time. Not all the people, but many of them are going to be tried with fire. They are going to be cleansed with fire. That's why it's important to endure until the end. And also, we saw in the key 7.9 that is the first beast, the one fighting, in this case with the authority of the dragon, fighting with the Kodeshim and overcome them. So those are the important keys. There are many aspects that we won't take in this video. Most probably we will review in the next one. But it's important to take note of all of this, and it's important to see the connection with all the previous keys that we have been finding throughout this series. So let's review the timeline because it's quite important. This is the timeline we have been built so far. Okay? So this is everything that we have been reviewing with the revelation in the book of Hasson, with the seals, also the prophecy of Yahushua HaMashiach, in the book of In YaHuWaH, Matthew chapter 24. We also saw the different aspects in the book of Daniel. We have been reviewing many aspects and different things, different events so far. So how this is connected at all with what we saw in this video in the chapter 12 of Revelation? The first thing we saw is that Michael is having a fight with the dragon. And we saw in the book of Daniel chapter 12 and also in Thessalonians chapter 2, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, is that Michael is the one restraining the first beast or the man of lawlessness to appear on the world scenario. So he's standing up. And what happened? What happened when he's standing up? He's standing up to the Shemayim in order to fight with the dragon, because we see in Revelation a fight between Michael and the dragon. Okay? And it's in this moment when the dragon is thrown to the earth. And this is so the important thing, and this is the support that I have been finding in the scripture, to believe that we will see something coming from the Shemayim to the earth. And when we see this coming to the earth, that is going to be a false second coming. That's my belief. I can be wrong, but that's what I believe. It's going to be a false second coming, because it's going to be Satan himself masquerading as a messenger of light, as it is written in the Body of YaHuWaH, masquerading himself as a messenger of light coming from the Shemayim to the earth. Okay, and all of us that have been so influenced by the system that to believe in the existence of beings of other planets, aliens that are going to come to the earth, we will believe in the falsehood. We could be deceived. And that's why Yahushua is saying that those false prophets are going to even try to deceive the chosen one. It's going to be so strong delusion that even the chosen one could be deceived. Okay? So, is the Satan himself coming as a messenger of light with a totally different good news? This is in the same words of Shaul. Okay? And as soon the dragon is thrown to the earth, he is the one, as we saw the different keys, bringing the first beast, because it's through the working of Satan that the man of lawlessness is coming through strong delusions and great signs of falsehood, as is written in Thessalonians. The first beast is bring it up by Satan himself, and that's why the world will worship the first beast, and the world will worship as well the dragon, because the dragon will be present on earth. So we saw that it's the dragon, the one persecuting the woman. Okay, but we also saw that the woman at the moment the persecution is starting. When is the persecution is starting? Here, at the moment of the fifth seal is open, at the moment of the abomination of desolation is set up. In this moment is the moment of the persecution is starting, and it's the moment when the woman will flee into the wilderness. And it's exactly the moment when Yahushua was telling us that we need to flee into the wilderness, that we don't need to come back for our for anything that we have in our homes. Okay, we don't need to worry about the things of this life. We need to worry and be focused just in the Malchut HaShamayim, in the kingdom of heaven and the righteousness. So we see the entire connection, the woman fleeing into the wilderness with the words of Yahushua. And we see that the woman is nourished, is protected in the wilderness for 1260 days. And this is the amazing thing, because we see this period of time is exactly the same period of time that the two witnesses are going to prophesy. It's exactly the same period of time that the Jerusalem is going to be under the dominion and the rulership of the nation, the 42 months that we saw, that is equivalent to 1260 days. And it's exactly the same time that the beast is going to rule over the entire world. It's exactly the same time of the period of time of the Great Tribulation, 3.5 years. That's the period of the Great Tribulation. Important to understand this, because the woman is going to be protected during this period of time. But we also saw that the dragon will fight with the remnant of the woman's seed. So not all the chosen ones are going to be protected. And this is the first time in the scripture that we start to see two different groups. One that is protected in the wilderness, one that is going to be persecuted, but the dragon and the beast. And we know here is that is the first beast, the one persecuting the Kodeshim. So how we can understand that the dragon and the beast are persecuting? It's because the dragon, the one giving the authority, the power, and the throne to the beast. So is the dragon the one sending the beast to persecute the remnant of the woman's seed? Okay? So important to see all of this. We see how the dragon will come to the earth. It's going to be part of the great delusion. The dragon is going to be on the earth exactly in the same way that it's happened on the beginning, is going to happen on the end. Okay? So it's important for us to understand all of this in order for not to be deceived, because we don't know who is going to be part of the ones of the group called as the woman that is going to be protected. We don't know who is going to be part of the remnant that is going to be persecuted, part of the woman's seed. This is solely known by YaHuWaH and Yahushua. Okay? So, what's the important message in order to finalize this timeline for the moment? Is that the sign that is triggering all of this is the sign of the woman in the Shemayim with the sun, the moon, and the stars. Because as we saw, is this sign the first one that is appearing on the Shemayim before the sign of the red dragon in the Shemayim and after coming to the earth. So is this sign of this woman pregnant is related to the same period of time that Yahushua was referring to the beginning of the birth pains. So is this sign the one triggering all of these events on the timeline? So it is very important to understand this sign. It is very important to understand who is the woman. It is very important to understand all that is referring in the first part of Revelation 12. And this is what we are going to cover in the next video, in the part 11. So just to close this video, as I said, now in the scripture we are able to see that there are two groups of people. Okay, one group that is receiving protection, that is referred to the woman, it's called the woman, is the one receiving protection, and a second group that is with any protection, that is called the rest of her seed. So one is protected and the other one is not protected. And most probably we will cover this later on this series when we cover part of the messages to the seven assemblies, the seven churches in Revelation chapter 2 to 3. If you have the time during this Shabbat, read it, because you will see that even in this, in the messages to all the assemblies, we see the difference between these two groups. Few people that are getting protection, other people that are not protected at all. Okay? So it's important to understand this parallel. A group of people that is protected, and other people that will need to go through the cleansing and refining of the great distress. Okay? The important thing that I want to reinforce as well is that the scripture teaches, revealed us, that this protection is going to be on the earth. There is nothing at all related to a rapture of protection in the Shamayim. We see it here darkly, that the woman is going to be protected on the wilderness. Okay? I know that there's some confusion in some people that believe that the woman is referred to the church, and the rest of the seed is referred to Israel. It's important to understand there is not such a separation. There's only one bride, is Israel. We are getting inserted in the olive tree. So it's just one people. There are not two people. It's just Israel. The point is that some of the people are already refined through water, but other one needs to be refined through fire. So it's nothing, the protection is not related to rapture at all. The protection during the great distress is on the earth as we saw it. And we have not seen at all yet a rapture mentioned in the scripture. There is a rapture. Is there a rapture? For sure it is a rapture, but it's not yet on the timeline. And we will see it later on this study. And we will see what's the purpose of the rapture and when the rapture is going to happen. Okay? So the important thing here is that why these people is not going to be protected is because they need to go through, as Daniel was telling us on his book in the chapter 12, they need to pass through the cleansing and refinement of the great distress. This is the way that YaHuWaH will clean those people that are not ready yet, in order to go and possess the land and to go and enter his malchut, his kingdom. So we can have the question how we can know, how we can be part of the protected people. And this is not up to us, okay? This is up to the decision of YaHuWaH, and we see a lot of part of the scripture, even in the book of Hasson, Revelation, that we need to work for our salvation, that we don't need to lost our crown. So it's part of what we are doing every day. But at the end, the decision is from YaHuWaH. So the only thing we can do is what is written in Lucas, in the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 36. And this is in the words of Yahushua. And it says the following: watch then at all times and pray. Pray. This is what we need to do. Pray that you be counted worthy to escape all this about to take place and to stand before the Ben Adam. So the only thing we are able to do, because this is in the decision of YaHuWaH, who is part of the woman and who is part of the rest of her seed, the group that is going to be protected during the Great Tribulation, or the group that is going to be unprotected. The only thing we can do is to pray, to be counted worthy to escape, to be counted worthy to be protected during this time. And if we need to go through the great distress, if we are not going to receive the protection, we need to understand and we need to stay firm. We need to have the emunah and the faith of YaHuWaH in our hearts in order to endure until the end. because if we endure until the end, we are going to receive the salvation, and we are going to be part of the Malchut Hashamayim. We are going to be part of the kingdom of YaHuWaH through Yahushua HaMashiach being our Melech, our King. Okay? So this is a strong message. This is an important message. We need to keep it in our minds. If there's something not clear, I know that this 1 hour and 50 minutes a long video, but go and check it again, because it's important for you to understand the message that I'm sharing with you in this moment. Okay? It's not my words. It's basically what I'm sharing with you is the word of YaHuWaH. I'm not trying to push you to believe something. I'm just sharing with you what is written in the Devar of YaHuWaH. It's up to us to study. It's up to us to believe. But what I see is a full and strong support from the Devar of YaHuWaH to believe that Satan, will come to the earth, masquerading himself as a messenger of light. Is going to be part of the great delusion. And as we have seen, we, the chosen one, will be on the earth. And we don't know if we're going to be part of the protected group or the group without protection. So even though we will be able to see Satan coming to the earth, we will see all of this happening. So that's why this study is so important, in order to understand the sequence of events, in order to understand the signs. Maybe there's something that are wrong, or maybe they are not completely aligned. I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm the owner of the truth. And what I'm trying to do is basically to understand for myself what is written in the Devar of YaHuWaH, and also to share with you what is my understanding, what is the light that I'm receiving from YaHuWaH. At the end, it's important that all of us are researching the truth. All of us are relying just in YaHuWaH, and sharing also the information with others, because the time is so close. We see everything that is happening on the world. For example, today we have here in Santiago snow. We don't never have snow here in Santiago. So it's so amazing that even in the weather we see things happening that are quite weird. Okay, we see all the fulfillments of the prophecies coming true. So it's important that we are searching the Devar of YaHuWaH all the time, that we are watching all the time, and we will see these important aspects of what is going to happen, because the delusion is going to be so strong that even the chosen one, and this is not my words, are the words of Yahushua, even the chosen ones could be deceived. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for following this study. Todah for your support. And let's keep praying. Let's keep praying in order to receive the protection from YaHuWaH, in order to receive His wisdom, and in order to make this emunah, this faith in our heart strong every day. So I hope you are going to enjoy your Shabbat. Todah Rabah, and YaHuWaH be with you all. See you in the next video.